Thank you so much for joining us today on the Abundant Life today. I am very excited because I have a special guest who is no longer a guest to the Abundant Life family. It is Dr. Roshana in the house. The last time she was with us, we talked about depression, and it was just excellent. We learned so much, and I had to have her back to deal with the topic of anxiety. So, for those who do not know, Dr. Roshana is a double boarded certified psychiatrist. She works with adults and children and adolescents, and she's the author of the book Prehab Before Postpartum. There it is on your screen. This is a must have because there's so many women who go through postpartum and have no idea what's happening. So education is the key, and the coolest part of it is that she also shares her own personal journey, which is it's so profound because she herself went through that challenge as a person who is trained. And so it comes out from a personal place, which is a wonderful story and journey. So today we will be talking about anxiety. And if you've been following the series, I hope you've been watching the videos and trying to educate yourself about what it is, how it affects you, how to relax, how to control the mind, self-talk, all those good stuff. But the last time I spoke with you, I did say that for those persons who are having a challenge, even after trying the coping skills, you are still struggling with functioning. I wanted to support you. And today we'll be talking to Dr. Roshana about just, when do you know to seek professional support? Like, what are we looking for? And, we'll be going through a lot of stuff. So stay tuned and do not leave your screen, whether that be phone or, or your laptop, because we're getting into it. So thanks for coming, Dr.
Thank,
Roshana.
thank you for having me back, family.
Yay. Yeah. So, anxiety is obviously can be very debilitating if it's a problem. I discussed before that it's normal, but it can become a challenge. So, I wanted to talk with you about, when do people come to you? At what point do they seek a psychiatrist, if they're having symptoms?
Right. Okay. Great question. So, just want to say I loved your previous videos about anxiety, and I think you brought up some very important points. And so, one of which I want to stress again is you said anxiety is your friend. It's designed to keep you safe. So we don't want to get rid of all anxiety. It's our body saying, "Hey, slow down, check it out, you know." But
Yeah.
sometimes the anxiety can be overwhelming. And so
Yeah.
the point in which people will often come to see me as a psychiatrist is it really depends on what's available in the community. But typically we like to see individuals come and who have had therapy, who have tried therapy, have been trying the different coping mechanisms, things of that nature. And if those strategies have not made a significant difference, then that is an indication that the person may or should consult with a psychiatrist. So anxiety can be situational.
Mhm.
Anxiety can be something you're genetically predisposed to. It may run in families. So with that said, sometimes there are some chemical imbalances actually in our brain that we have no control over.
Right.
And so sometimes even with the coping strategies that we are learning, the therapy that we're partaking in, that may not be enough to make a significant difference so that you are no longer having problems with your everyday functioning. And so in those events, sometimes medication may be another treatment option, not necessarily by itself, but in combination.
Okay. Okay. So that's very helpful. So these are persons who have tried, obviously, based on what you've said, they have tried treatment in terms of counseling and using their skills, and it's just not working. They're still struggling. What are some of the challenges that you find that people come in with in terms of their struggles that don't go away?
So sometimes they're even, sometimes some of the struggles may be the excessive worrying, or they may be having somatic symptoms, chest pain, stomach discomfort, things of that nature. Or sometimes some of the issues that may be part of contributing factors to the anxiety, they're in therapy, but the anxiety is so up here. And as you mentioned, it's that fight or flight, right? In the previous videos,
Yes.
you're in that fight or flight stage. So what the therapist is trying to get you to learn and lay down in your long-term memory, it's not happening. It's bypassing. So sometimes the medication can help bring that anxiety down so that you can be more engaged and take better advantage of the therapy.
Right. That is an excellent point you have made, because I think that a lot of people go into therapy wanting to benefit, but realize that even the steps, because even with managing anxiety, as it's a lot of brain retraining too. It's steps you have to do really. And it's just hard to do those steps if you're not calm enough, if your brain is not calm enough. So I clearly do see what you're saying. So it can also help that person to benefit even more from the therapy experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so those who may start medication, you have different people. Some people may just need medication for right now to lower the anxieties, symptoms down further enough so that you can take advantage of the therapy and, etc.
Right.
And so it doesn't mean that you have to be on it forever and ever. It just means for right now. Okay. Then there's others, whereas they need to be on a longer term, but that doesn't mean that you can't continue to, work with whoever the psychiatrist that you're working with, or the therapist you're working with, and
Right.
without it, once you've obtained or reached some of those goals that you set for treatment.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you have to be on it forever and ever. It's just for right now, because the goal is to help reduce that anxiety so that you can take full advantage of this life that you have, so that you don't feel paralyzed, so that you can progress. That's the goal. So I tell people to remind themselves of that, because sometimes people get caught on, I don't want to be on medicine. Is the goal, I don't want to be on medicine, or is the goal to get relief?
That's a good question. Is the goal to be on medicine or to get relief? Because you're right, people get stuck on not wanting to be on medication and don't have a fulfilling life. We're trying to help people to be able to be happy, to enjoy their lives, and do whatever it takes, and in a healthy way with support. But I like what you said, because people always ask that, will I have to be on medication all my life? Right? That comes up a lot. Is this, because that scares people, just take mix for all their life, to be on medication all their life. But you're saying we don't know that yet. Just start off at this point, let's just get the symptoms manageable and then move to the next level from
Exactly.
that point.
Take
Okay.
one day at a time, because
Yeah.
all my life you've already freaked yourself out. You're like, oh no. And so that's what anxiety wants you to do. I often talk to my patients. I talk about depression, anxiety as these uninvited guests,
Yes.
and they take over your life.
Mhm.
And anxiety don't want anybody else around. So they want to say, hey, you're gonna have to be on it all your life. And then the person's like, no, no. And the anxiety's like, yes, I get to stay
That's that
longer.
spin. Wow, that's powerful. That is powerful. I think this is a perfect time to kind of go into, the different ways anxiety challenges present. Because when I was looking at the different diagnosis and categories, it's a whole lot. So I don't know how you want to share that, in terms of what does it look like in different ways?
Yeah. So anxiety is just this generic term, just like, the term of fish. What kind of fish? You got all kinds of different fish, right? And they
Mhm.
look different sizes, different colors, right? So anxiety is a generic term used for a category of different types of anxiety, right? Some of the symptoms are similar, but generally speaking, the experience of anxiety, regardless of the type, one of the big things is you have to remember, and is one of the things that we look at to see if this is a normal anxiety. Because remember earlier we said anxiety is protective, it can be protective, but
Mhm.
sometimes anxiety can be excessive. So is it interfering with your everyday life? How is it affecting your relationships, with your spouse, your friends, your children, you know, co-workers? How is it affecting you financially? How is it affecting your physical health and all of that? So with that said, there's different types of anxiety. I'll mention some of the main categories. And so you can do individual videos on all those. But some of the
Exactly.
categories of anxiety, you have generalized anxiety
Okay.
disorder. Okay. And so the key, it kind of the term gives you an idea of what that anxiety is about. So generalized anxiety.
Mhm.
Then you have panic disorder, you have phobias,
Right.
agoraphobia, social anxiety, separation anxiety. Those are the main categories of anxiety.
Okay.
PTSD used to be a part of that category, but is no longer because of the other symptoms that can be associated with it. But generalized
Okay.
anxiety, keyword generalized. So this anxiety is very persistent and excessive. People worry about any and everything. I
Mhm.
call them the worry warts. I say, are you a worry wart? And a lot of people know what that means because they
Right.
worry about small things or big things that are likely to happen, things that are unlikely to happen. So it's not just about specific things. They may have, they may find themselves constantly in their head thinking, for instance, they may think about their day today. And then they're thinking about tomorrow. Well, today, this happened.
Mhm.
But then if this happened, then that could happen. And then if that could happen, then this can happen. And if this can happen, then that can happen. And before you know it, you've gone through a series of different possible scenarios,
Yes. Yes.
and that may or may not happen. Your anxiety is up here. You're feeling restless, anxious. You can't concentrate on anything else. You try to concentrate on something else, but you're still worrying. You may have problems with sleep, getting headaches, stomach aches, feeling easily
Mhm.
fatigued. This is the generalized anxiety, and just generalized anxiety can look a little irritable too. Okay, so
Okay.
so it's like I liken it to um, I don't want to never mind. A bottle of water. So you have this bottle of water. The water is up to here. So
Mhm.
from here to here, it's anxiety. So you get upset or you're anxious or you're constantly thinking about it. You don't have much to blow the top, right? So
Mm.
you're constantly feeling just on edge and just anxious. And that's the generalized anxiety. So it's generally anxious about a vast number of things, not specific things all the time. Then you have, let's say, panic disorder.
Okay, let's hear more about that.
So panic disorder is the term, and is usually consisting of recurrent, unexpected anxiety attacks. Recurrent,
Okay.
unexpected anxiety attacks. So these are anxiety attacks that are occurring, over and over. They're
Mhm.
unexpected. So you don't have a specific trigger. Like you
Wow.
may say, oh, I know every time I have to go into the grocery store, I'm going to have a, anxiety attack. That's not panic disorder because it's
Okay.
specific and it's expected, right? That's something else, but that's not panic disorder. So it's recurrent, unexpected anxiety attacks. And usually these attacks are you're not gonna be feeling like I had an anxiety attack all day long. No, it's a distinct period of time, and usually it's gonna be over within 15 minutes. So you're having an overwhelming feeling of anxiety, also some physical symptoms. So some thoughts that many people may experience, they may feel detached or feel like they're losing control. I'm losing my mind, or they feel like they're dying. As a result, many people end up in the ER thinking they're having heart attacks.
Ask you that. Okay. Okay.
And after, the ER doctors work them up, they say, we didn't find anything. We think this is anxiety. They may have nausea, stomach pain, feeling like they're choking, pressure on their chest, hot flashes, chills, feeling shaky, heart racing, short of breath, sweating.
Mhm.
Okay, so recurrent, unexpected
Expected.
anxiety attacks with physical and psychological distress that's occurring, that reoccurs basically. And it's not going to be all day. It's going to last basically up to maybe 10, 15 minutes. So if someone comes in and says, I have anxiety attacks all day long, it's likely not panic disorder, okay? But it is some sort of anxiety.
So that's important to differentiate. I just wanted to hold that right there because a lot of people mix this up, and I think that's important for people to understand. So it is recurrent, unexpected anxiety attacks.
Right.
Can last up to 15 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's not specific. It can just happen anytime.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people I have met with, that's how I end up meeting them. They went to the emergency room because of an unexpected anxiety attack.
Absolutely.
That they feel that they cannot breathe,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to be a heart issue, and they end up there. They when they see nothing is happening there, and they end up seeking counseling. So thank you so much for differentiating that for us. A panic disorder as opposed to just an anxiety attack. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have the phobias. So these are specific. Okay. So now, you may say, oh, I have a phobia of spiders, arachnophobia, right? Or you have a phobia of heights. These are specific, not generalized type stuff, specific. And so that is how you differentiate if this is a phobia or not. And usually, of course, the fear is excessive to what we consider, likely. And people can go to extreme lengths to avoid it. And so it can interfere with their functioning. So maybe the phobia is heights. So you live in a large metropolitan area, you have to drive to work. You end up saying, oh, I can't take the highway because I'm afraid of heights and crossing over those, doorways and everything. So then you may take the streetway, which can take twice or three times as long to get to work. So it's interfering with your daily life, right? So now you're late to work. Then there are consequences to you being late to work, right? So so that's an example of a specific phobia that can cause some difficulty in your your ability to function, your performance.
Mhm.
And so another, I guess, sometimes people are afraid of other things like public speaking or something.
Mhm.
That could be also another one. Then you have agoraphobia.
Okay.
Okay. And so agoraphobia is the fear, was distinguishes it from other things, the fear of being unable to escape a situation, or you
Okay.
fear like you're going to embarrass yourself.
Okay.
Okay. And so that is agoraphobia, kind of being around people and stuff. So the one thing you got to distinguish, I guess, with children, you have to often think about what is developmentally normal,
Okay.
right? So some kids might be afraid to be in certain situations, and it may or may not be agoraphobia. So you got to keep that in mind. Is this an adult who, versus a child? You would like, just thinking of those developmental, what's developmentally normal or
Okay.
typical.
Okay.
And so the thing with the agoraphobia, it could be maybe a fear of public transportation, so they avoid public transportation.
Okay.
Or maybe they fear enclosed spaces, like
Like people
small.
who cannot go in elevators. That would be an
Yes,
example.
that
Okay.
exactly. That would be an example, like someone presenting with that would be someone, okay, let me rule out agoraphobia. Let me
Okay.
see, so yeah, so that's the I think the main thing with that is fear of situations where you cannot escape from, that it may be difficult or embarrassing or something bad might happen.
That may happen, right?
And then again, the phobias are specific, like bugs or heights or that type of thing.
Okay.
Okay. And then you have social anxiety. And that's a discomfort about being embarrassed or humiliated in specifically social interactions.
Okay.
Okay. So the social anxiety and then the agoraphobia is the social interactions. The agoraphobia is more so these, I'm afraid, like you might be in social situations, but the fear may be more so, I'm afraid that I will not be able to escape if something bad happens.
Okay.
Versus with the social anxiety, fear you're going to embarrass yourself, someone's going to say something to, that type of thing. And then you have separation anxiety, which is very common in children, but you can see it in adults as well. Okay. And so that's when you have excessive anxiety regarding like being separated from like someone that you're really attached to.
Okay.
Okay. And so then it's interfering with your ability to function. Like you're turning down maybe job opportunities and things like that, or because you're afraid of being separated from this person, or you just stay at home all the time, and so of course there's other symptoms that go involved, but the biggest thing is it, how distressing is it, how long is happening, going on, and is it interfering with your ability to function in life?
Okay. How distressing, how long, and interference.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the telltale signs is, the avoidance piece, and that's the difficult because a lot of persons, because of the avoidance piece, it impacts almost every area of their life, relationships, just people's future goals and passions that they want to pursue, so it can really, if not addressed, impact just having a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
You end up avoiding so many things that you probably want to do, but not able to do. So this, I have a question for you. So there are some people who, as go through a traumatic event, could be a major loss, or is it physical trauma, sexual trauma, and then they start having anxiety symptoms more generalized, right? How is that looked at? Because they're having generalized symptoms, but they had a particular trigger.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
So with that, you would then have to differentiate, is it generalized anxiety or is this post-traumatic stress
Okay.
disorder? The treatment, some of the treatments will be similar,
Okay.
but then there's some treatments that are different that may be more helpful for post-traumatic stress, aka PTSD treatment.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's helpful. So
Mhm.
it's still, you still would need to, talk with a trained professional to kind of tease that
Absolutely.
out. You're
Absolutely.
right. You're right. People could have had some level of anxiety challenges before the event, but then it even got more pronounced, and it becomes more of a part of a different diagnosis, which is post-traumatic stress disorder.
Absolutely.
So
And depending on the anxiety, the type of anxiety the person has, some, far as outcomes may be
right.
different, or expectations may be different based off of research, And so even though some of the treatments may be similar, it's good to know what it is so that you can the person can become educated about it, and so that you can have realistic expectations of yourself, and kind of have an idea what to expect. Because if you know what to expect, there's things that you could do to help with, still working through all of that as you go along.
But that's exciting news, because you're saying that with all the list of different disorders you just mentioned, people can actually have a normal life. Like they can actually, you know, their symptoms can be managed. They can fulfill their dreams. They can take their kids out to have fun. They can go in an elevator or go on a ride they want to try at Six Flags, right? So you're saying that it is possible,
It is possible.
even when it is severe, that
Absolutely.
people can still have a normal life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And understanding it's not like some people like it's like this end result or a destination. It's just learning it's a process. It's learning to manage. So some people expect, well, I'm here and it's supposed to go away. Remember earlier we said anxiety, we're not trying to get rid of every anxiety. So we have to learn and educate ourselves about what is normal anxiety, what is excessive, so it's learning to, hey, these are the cards I was dealt. Let me figure out how I can live with the cards that I was dealt with. Not having this unrealistic expectation of, I will never, ever have to deal with this again. No, it's now a part of your makeup. We cannot erase experiences. We learn how to cope and manage it. And we may have to learn to manage it differently.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this series. I hope you found it helpful. And remember to subscribe and share. See you soon. Thank you for watching.